So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream with live peoples and recorded for ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I've bought Bennett Klein's WILD, and I had a spot of bother kind of opening it up as a digital, so I've printed it. So I've printed them out, and then I'm going to scan them back in and save them as a JPEG or a PDF. Because the other one I bought Dragons, it opens straight away, but for some reason WILD will not do that. So I printed it off on printer paper, and I found a packet of paper that was 100 GM, and it's a bit thicker than ordinary. This particular one is HP Premium Choice, and it's just that little bit thicker than printer paper, and it feels really nice. So the Bennett Klein's was a bit thin, so I thought actually there isn't going to be more tooth, but it'll work okay. And then I've got my set of 90 vintage original Derwent pastel pencils. So these are the 90 pale colours. So there's 30 colours, and each colour has 2 other tints. So I'm playing with those colours. I'm using a little tiny brush for blending a small area, and I'm blending a damp brush for blending big areas. I'm not blending with a blending tool, because unfortunately my hand's not brilliant, so I'm still being able to colour, but I'm restricted in what I can use. So I've googled monarch butterflies and also tiger cubs, and chosen this one because he had a little bit more orange on him, matching the monarch butterfly. And then I screenshot them, so you're not on the internet all the time, and you've got that for if you don't finish your page, you've got your reference. So my monarch butterfly, and then I've got Spectrum Orange 11B, Earth Orange Faint, and Earth Orange 72B. So what I might just do very quickly is to have a look to see if I can match these up with the original colours. Sorry, not with the original colours, with the colours that are in the new Derwent watercolour set. Brain's not connected today. With the pastel pencils you buy today, I want to know if you can get the same colours as in this older set. And well, I can't find my yellows. I must have some missing. How strange. I seem to have got more pencils at the moment than I know what to do with, but there it is. I wondered what it was. So some of these are in this original set, and some of the other set is from an old set that I had, but I didn't have the complete set. So some of these are vintage. So these are the yellows and oranges. So I've pulled out P Tangerine 10. So I'll just do this really quickly, so then you can think, well, what colours can I use if I haven't got them? Marigold looks quite near something. No, it's just a bit too yellow with marigold. So they're the cold yellows, so we want to be where the warm yellows are. So we want so burnt orange, is very similar. So there is a difference, slight difference. So we've got burnt orange, so we've got burnt orange, and we've also got tangerine. So that one matches that one, and that one matches that one. So we've got orange earth. So we need an orange earth. I think that one's going to be a little bit too bright. Very similar. And I think that one's going to be a little bit too dark. Yep, that's like the other ones that I was using. And most of those are cool yellows. So if you want to match them up, I have burnt orange P90, tangerine P110, 110, and spectrum orange 100. So actually they're all next to each other. So we've got a P90, a P100 and a P110. And that's in the Derwent pastel pencils that you buy today. In the vintage set that are more difficult to come by, I've got a set, and these actually are not exactly the same, but they match, so I can put them in. So we've got Spectrum Orange 11B, Orange Earth 73B, Orange Earth 73D, and Orange Earth 73F. And in between all those you can get those, so they're basically in between them. Oh yes, there's tons more, even the watercolours. But of course a pencil has more binder, and what I said about the pastels is that the pastels and pastel pencils are the nearest thing to pure pigment you can get, and it's the binder that makes you use less pigment. So that's why these are the nearest thing. And when you look at pastels, which I've got the box up there but I can't lift it, I'm going to try and use pastels. They are literally almost pure pigment. They have a little bit of talc with them, or chalk. They have a bit of chalk with them, and then they are malleable and not malleable. What's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of mixed to make a gum, to make like a paste, and then you keep mixing them until you can get them into a little sausage, and then they're left to dry, and that's how they are made. But they are nearly almost pure pigment, and because these pastel pencils that Derwent brought out a long time ago are softer, they'll have more pigment in than the ones that you have today. Having said that, these are all gorgeous bright colours, so you're not losing anything. I've got 4 new ones and 3 new ones and 4 old ones. But I love the fact that they are slightly out. So the orange earth and the spectrum orange of both of them, they're different, only just. But that's the spectrum orange of the original, and that's the spectrum orange of the new one. It's just a tint, half a tint separate, but that's brilliant because that means I've got twice as many colours. No, darling, thank you. So, so back to this monarch butterfly. So we've got the darkest colour on the inside here. And again, the darkest colour is actually the tomato colour. I quite like that one. And then the next one. Now these are, you can tell they're a little bit softer instantly, but that's quite nice. I think we can put a little bit of that on there. And then we want the next one. And I'm actually going to put all the colour out. I think I'm going to put all the colour out that I want. And you can see changing very slightly. So you could say that this is dust just sitting there. I think I actually like this paler one. And you're just stroking a little bit of colour in. Sorry about the rattle, it's feeding time at the zoo. So I'll zoom in a bit and we'll see if we can get a little bit closer. So if I do that, and then I think that's okay. So what I do then is I take my damp brush, I dunk it, and then I twist it to a point. And then I just manoeuvre this, wet it, and it becomes a watercolour. Now, some printer inks blend and some don't. This isn't supposed to, but we'll see. And we're just smudging that. Now remember, it's a grayscale, so it's never going to be a very bright, not with pastel colours. They do. The only reason they do that is because really this shouldn't work because you've got no tooth, and normally you need a tooth for pastel. But what we're doing, we're staining the paper. That's what we're doing. And I'll show you the difference. So this is with a blending tool, and I love working with a blending tool. You just blend that out, and that's so quick and so easy, and it does all the work for you. And so you can do all that, and it's all blended. Could you put it in my handbag, darling, please? So some of that's fixed and some isn't. So that's how you blend it. Blending's nicer, and then I just take a plain brush and just stroke it over the top. very carefully, straight over the top. You don't want to do it too many times because you will lose it. I just go all over everything and then I'll let it dry. It's best to start light and go over dark, but I don't always remember that. I'm just going to put a little bit of this colour in here. It doesn't seem quite dark enough. Oops. I can't forget not to use the thumb. And I made a mistake there. So the beauty of this is I haven't wet that. I can just erase it and it's gone. So as long as you erase it before you've actually touched it, it's fine. It's gone. And again, I love that because I'm always making mistakes. And then we can blend this out. And again, like with the Harry Potter Hagrid's Cottage, blended everything out. And then just a damp brush, teased over the top. Now remember, there is colour on here because we've made it into a watercolour now. It's not exactly a watercolour, but it reacts like a watercolour. So you can re-go in there and it will re-wet it. Having said that, you don't do that straight away because it will buckle your page. So that's what it looks like on the back. But I love the very pale, delicate colours. So again, I want to put my colours in dark order first, from dark to light. So that all my colours are in order. And then we'll try our button. And it's very quick. Very quick. I love the fact it's very, very quick. I just love the fact it's fairly quick. Now they look quite yellow, but if I hold them up there, they're quite pinky. Sorry, not pinky, orangey. But they do look. So we'll do this little tigger here. And we'll go back to our image. So he's got some really dark paws, and it's quite good to get an image very similar. So we've got that beautiful blue eye, fluffy ears. Oops. So I might actually put the eye in first. So it's a greeny blue. It's a really nice greeny blue. That. So I'm going to have a quick look at the spectrum blue. If I can get the pencil out. Yep, like that colour. So again, and I don't have a point on this. I just scratch a bit of colour where I can, and I might as well do the other ones while I'm here. Now, if I was blending, what I would do is take my little brush it's a tiny little brush, and I would just go in there instead of blending. There's no reason to blend and then wet it. We may as well just do that. So now that eye is set, or those eyes are set, I should say. And then we now need to go for some more colour. So we see. So we've got some dark here, and again, you know, we've got the cross hatching and hatching, so we've already got all this information we need. We don't actually need really need a photograph if we didn't really want one, because we do have some quite nice. And what I tend to do is, you can't put colour over each other because we can't blend, we don't have a tooth, but what we can do is put colours next to each other. So if you put colours next to each other, and again I've put a bit too much on his paws there, so I can just take all that off, because we want that to be quite light. And then get your blending tool. I was only blowing the bits off. And so we can blend. Again, I've got to clean the end of the blending tool. For some reason it likes flesh, so that's good. Very careful. Now normally you'd hold it like this, but you can't see what I'm doing. Very carefully just blend those really nice pale claws, and then blend the rest in. Now he looks a bit like an orangey, a bit of an orangey boy, but it's fine. And so what we can do is really work those two different shades. So that gives a lovely colour. A lovely colour range. It looks a bit yellowy there, but and again, that's not set. The butterfly's set, but that isn't set, so you can't touch it because it will smudge. So we want to go a bit paler. So on his nose, what's he got on his nose? He's probably got this colour, because his face is a bit whiter. He's definitely got white round there, and his ears. And then his tummy's got a bit paler, and again that back claw is paler there. But then we can go in with some kind of nice rich tiger colour. And you can probably tell there's a little bit of a difference. So again, I'm just going to start with the palest, where we just want a hint of colour, just to take that stark white off. And then we need some stark white there. Just get rid of that a little bit and then go back in with the darker. And then we work that in to his darker paws. So he's got some kind of quite dark on his back, and then of course he's got his tail. And then we could do with a little bit of brighter colour in there. So just put a little bit of colour, and then we'll go in with a blending tool. And so this is a grayscale, so all the work's been done for you really. You're just pushing it about. And this is using a blending tool. So I'm going to do one tigger like this, and then I'll do the other tigger. I should have gone a bit sideways actually to create that effect, but never mind. We've got a well blended tail, and if I want to get the highlights back before I fix it, again I'm using the lines that were drawn originally. I can put the highlight back in. And on his face there, a little bit on there. You just take that off there because they have a little white. So what I've done there, and then I have in my paintbrushes, I always have a sable fluffy brush, and again remember you've got to be a bit careful because it's not set. And then you can take a brush, twist it to a point, and then when you're satisfied, just draw right over the top with this damp brush. And you don't need to blend because you've already blended with the blending tool. If you hadn't blended with the blending tool, then you would do it now. Very easy. Love the colours. Again, you say, you know, the next best thing to these are the Caran d'Ache colour tools, because again they're a different waxy surface, but there's a lot of pigment in them. So they are the next best, most pigmented of the crayons and the pastels. Oh, there's Sati. I don't think Sati's... Hi Sati! 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 Hello Sati! Come on Sati! Don't think Sati will come up. Sats! Sati! Oh, sis! Sati! No, Sati's not coming near. He's got more sense. So you don't want too much because you're going to buckle your page, but that should be enough to set it. So now it isn't a pastel, it's now a watercolour, and it's set. So you've got two ways you can work, but there's quite a few different videos out there that I've done. So then we can go to the next little tig here. We've done his eye, so we can put the blue one back. So we've got a bit of dark on here. We've got some nice orangey paws on that one. And you're scratching colour, and you can just literally scrape the pastel pencil across. They are so soft. This one's a bit harder. This is the Derwent pastels that you buy now. This is the new improved one, and I guess they did that because people asked them that they wanted a bit of a tougher kind of. They asked for a tougher brush. I've got pale ears, and again a little bit of pastel goes a long, long way. It really does. So then we can blend. And the blending tools work quite well actually. So you just scribble a little bit of colour on and then you blend it out to give a lovely soft image. Now it would help if you went with the kind of the fur. You kind of want to really go with the direction of fur really, if you can, because you keep all that hard work you've done with the stripes. And it kind of really got. Alfie, what are you doing? Are you being good, are you? We shout at him all the time, bless him. Even when he's being good. So I think this paper stood up quite well. It's the first time I've used it like this, so it's stood up quite well. So put that on there. Let's see if we can go with that. Remember, I've already done the eye, so I don't need to do the eye. All you need to do is just make sure you get a little bit of colouring over everything. Going over there. You can tell where you've been because it goes slightly darker, and all the dark original lines go very black because you're wiping the dust off the top. Basically, that's what you're doing. And a barely damp brush, any wetter and it'll buckle your pages. So he's now set. He's not a watercolour anymore. He's now set. So we pan out a little bit. We can now start adding different colours. So I'm going to put these away because I don't want to get them damaged. So we'll put those three. Want to go into the other pencils. Orange earth, spectrum orange can go there. And those three can go there. Have a quick slurp of tea. So I don't know what kind of flower that is, but they're okay, the little tigers. And it's very quick. It's very quick. Again, got to remember to clean the orange from there. So I find the best thing to do is just wipe a baby wipe, and then kind of rub it on your skin, and it just kind of comes off quite nicely. So now we've kind of got an intricate design going on here. Let's have a look. I might just make these lovely colours up as we go along. So if you've got any questions. So I say welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm playing with this. It's behaving itself quite well. Is this paper? It's a bit thicker than ordinary paper. Again, I really love emerald green and hooker's green, so I think these green kind of swirls here can be green. So scratch a little bit of colour. I'm not going to blend because it hurts my hands, so I'm just going to use a brush, and I'm going to blend with the brush. And you can get a watercolour effect if you want, or you can just activate all of it and do a flat colour. So you can get whatever desired effect you want, really. If you want a highlight, you can have one. You just don't put any paint, any pencil there. So again, I might actually leave that other side on the outside. I might leave that. Oopsie. I wonder if that was better for the colour. So I've left all that top colour there, and I've just put the colour at the bottom. So you need to get fairly comfortable, and then you want to kind of activate that and then stroke that, and you should end up with a pale version at that side and a darker version at that side, which gives the illusion of a shadow. And you watercolour it away, so you get some nice effects. Now I didn't do that with that side, so I can go in there, and again I can go do that now it's dried, and I can also see if I can get a little bit of that off, because we want a highlight. So you can work two ways to get a highlight. And this brush is barely damp. Now the thing about putting extra colour on, you've got to be a bit careful because you're rubbing your paper, but that looks okay. So there's two ways of doing it. You can put it on and then erase it, or you can leave a space and then manipulate the paper round, the paint round rather. So again, I've got to do that on the bottom here. So again, scratch a bit of colour, and there's no points on these at all, just as they are. And a damp brush, activate that and make that be like that. So put that in there. And that's a bit paler as well, so it looks quite nice. And I think we've got some little hearts, so I think we're going to have some little pink hearts. And again, completely blunt these, there's no point on them at all, but there is a little bit of a ridge, and that's all you need. But you can just put the tiniest scratch of colour. You don't want to dig down because you're going to make dust, and dust is wasted pigment. So this brush is a bit big, so I'm going to go in with this little diddy one. I mean, you could do this on a train with a little diddy brush, and again, because it's pure pigment, you get some quite vibrant colours. You know, some of these bold colours are not wishy-washy. They are the true darker colour, and then you can put the other one to match. But I think these delicate drawings are just lovely with these pastel colours. Oh, thank you, Button. Thank you, Button Addict. Thank you. I can't find any hearts going that way. Oh, there's some there. Look, so there's a little heart there, and I think that would be a heart, maybe. Sometimes you start something and you think, I really don't like it, and then it takes a while before it grows on you. But some pages are always easy to know, but I like this really easy way to work. You've got 90 colours there, you've got 3 tones in each colour, you've got a damp brush, and you blend if you want, or a damp brush and a baby wipe, and that's it. And I really like that. And when I did the Harry Potter, in fact I really want this book again. I'll just pan out a bit. Bearing in mind, this is the space I've got. Oops, sorry. When I did this one, oh, is this the new one? When I did this one, I think this one took 8 hours. But I love playing with the pastels. So again, I just put a dot of 16 colours and then mushed it up a bit. Don't know if it'll... So we had a lot of colours in there, and it's all set now. It's not pastel because it's all been pushed over with water. And then we took the highlighter, the electric eraser, and we made highlights so that these would sit forward and the forest would go back. But all this is pastel, and it's all colours next to each other and then blended, because remember we don't have a tooth, so we can't put lots of pastel on top. It's just next to it. The only one you can a little bit is the very dark indigo, and that's the one that I put the dark colour in. That's why I didn't fix it first, because I wanted to darken this area up, and that's why I did. So you can work as much colour in as you want. And I've started some of the others as well. I did the mermaid. That was fairly quick, and again I did it and then I blended it with the blending tool. So I like these particular drawings because this drawing is about as detailed as I'd want to draw if I was doing any professional painting, and that's why I quite like them. I started with this one, so I'm going to build up a little bit of colour on that one. So that's something to think about. I've got another colour books out now. So you can build lots and lots of colours, but only have one layer of colour. They are a bit darker, these. They are a rich darker colour than they're showing. So again, you can't build up colours because of looking for some more hearts, but I can't see any, so I'll pop that pink back. I don't know what colour to do that. Could have some blues, purples in there, couldn't we? So sometimes you just start using colour. You don't have to think about it. Sometimes it's nice to stay within a colour range, and that little tiny bit of dust, it's been instantly transformed into a watercolour. Then we can have the darker tone inside. And you can manipulate that so it's a shadow. we've got the pale purple one here. I think I'm just liking the blues actually. So put that one in there. And you could blend it, but I just like using a little damp brush because you don't have to go over it again, it's already done. Whereas if you're blending, you've got to do it again. So I like to do it in one. It's very quicker. It's a lot quicker rather. I need a little tiny bit of purple, but I've wet that now, so I'm going to have to leave that. I might just try to get a layer of dark purple in there. Just a little bit. And again, I'm going to use the little tiny one. Just to give a bit of colour. And we could possibly put purple in the middle. And because it's damp, it's actually made it rough, so you've got to be careful with your paper. You can only do this when it's that. Oh, thank you. So they are a little bit darker than they look, but not much. So we've got some now we could use all fawns and thingies, but we've got an that's the hooker's green, and this is an emerald green. So we've got an emerald green. So we can use that here. I'm just scratching a little bit of colour through everything, and then you know that that's going to be that colour. And we can make that colour be that colour. Just a little bit of colour through there. And that one as well. Just got to remember not to use my silly thumb. Right. And again, I'm just going to put that pencil back. Oh, bye Vicky. Yes, thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. So this is how you would use the Derwent pencils and ink tents and not the grayscale, what they're called, Graphite Tint. It's just, you've just got to press that bit harder with those. This, you just glide the pencil across and colour escapes, and it really just crumbles onto a page. So if you've got pulley hands, they're wonderful for doing that. Don't have to worry about, and the colours are so vibrant because of course they're the nearest thing to pure pigment, so you don't even have to worry about the colour consistency or the colour vibrancy, because they're always going to be vibrant because of the fact that they are almost pure pigment. Even the tints and the tones, they have a lot of pigment in them, so it's always easier. And because you scratch at different levels and you scratch at different amounts, they come out differently. So again, that gives that little bit of variation, and there's no effort at all. It's just how it happens. Of course, if you want to go in a bit later with a shadow, you could do, but you can only go sat next to it a little bit because we don't have that tooth. Some quite nice greens. I think I'm going to do the middles of those green as well. I think I'll do them all green. Have some continuity. put a bit of actual hooker's green on that. Now, because I've done that, I can actually take all that off. Now there's a faint stain, but very little else. Because I hadn't wet the paper first, or the paint, so I can take that off and then put this one on. That should have been, I think that should have been purple. I think that should have been purple. No, we'll leave it green. I think we'll do a purple background. But once I've wet it and made it into a watercolour, I won't be able to erase it quite as easily. You can a little bit, but not much. I still think I want that purple. So has anybody got any questions? Again, I'm just activating it and making it set. If you wanted to make a watercolour, you can put colour somewhere and nowhere else, and then blend it across. It's always quite nice. We could do with a little bit of I might use that purple. Have a look at this pinks. Just put a little bit of colour into here. That's Crimson Lake, and that's Crimson Lake. So we'll use 3 Crimson Lakes from dark to light. But don't go to the end, leave a little bit of a gap. And then what we want to do is to start on the outside . If it's a big area, I'm actually going to blend, because it gives a nice smooth blended tone like it. So we want that barely pink, and then of course we want that pink to be blended in with that pink. And then that one wants to be blended in with that one. Now you've got smaller tools if you need them. But that's given a really rich tone to that. It is a bit pinkier than that. And then I just need the darker tone on the outside. And you can get away with another little bit in there, but not much. You get one level and that's it. So, and then I've just made a tiny mistake. If I smooch it in a bit, just go through that. I can just take that off, and I can put a highlight in when I want one. So there's all sorts of things you can do to make some really pretty many pretty things. Don't know what that is. Could be a bit of petal, in which case just smudge a bit of pink in there. That will do. And remember, that's not set, so now what I need to do is to take my little water brush. You do it with a small brush. Can't do it with a big water brush though, a big one, because as soon as you touch the tip of the brush onto the page, water will flood out and it will crinkle your page, and it can move your water, it can move your colours. So you've got to be a little bit careful. And then last but not least, do the middle section. And as long as you haven't wet and fixed, you can go back in there. So we need a vibrant yellow, I think. So I've got this cadmium yellow, and again it's not pointed, but it does have a ridge on it here, so I can get a sharp edge and I can get some colour in there. But again, I'm going to use the little tiny brush to manoeuvre that colour when I want it. But it's very quick, it doesn't take long, and you can't mess about. You can't be too wet with it because it'll spoil. So again, we've got all three. You've got the mid one, sorry, the dark one. Not quite to the end, the pink one. And then we've got a little blender. Push that around a bit. And they do behave themselves when you blend them. You don't get any lines. And I'm not really pushing hard on this at all. Just smushing it about. You get the most wonderful blends, which I would never get in a million years in a pencil. Never ever would I do that with a pencil. But you can get that really nice blend. Again, just have the eraser. Brighten those up a bit. Just the darkest bit down that one. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope everybody's well, and this is a live stream for Ustream.tv and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. And it doesn't take long to kind of build up any colours at all. Yes, it is. It's very fast and it's very quick. You just have to make sure you get rid of all your little eraser bits. And it's very easy on the hands, which is most important, because I'm just a bit worried that in 10 years all these people using all these pencils are going to have arthritic hands. Because of colouring until your hand hurts, because that's over colouring, and yet you will be doing, because my left hand's like this because I used to draw a lot, so that's why I didn't realise. But a couple of hours and you can quite easily get a decent effect. Oh, as I said that, it went to an hour. It went to an hour. So again, use the tiny little brush. Just, it's very easy and it's very quick. There's a bit of a technique to it, but most of the time it actually works very, very, very nicely itself. Very nicely. Just do these other two colours and then I've come to an hour then. So, but I might actually just finish this little one because I've got a nasty habit of not finishing off things. I start new things and I forget, so again it's a good habit to get into. And you can literally scribble with this. You can't do that with anything else, but you're scribbling dust particles. That's all you're doing here. And the blender is doing the rest of the work for you. And again, don't ask me, it's not supposed to work in a colour book because you are technically putting pastel on a shiny surface. It doesn't have any tooth whatsoever, or very little. The only way I describe it is you are staining the paper. And you stain the paper long enough to get a damp brush over it. But believe me, I think that is hanging on for dear life, that colour. And if you go over, as long as you take it off before you dampen it and fix it, then it's fine. The same with the stems. If you take it off, you can't activate it, make it pink and then expect to be taking it off. You can't do that, but you can do it the other way. I mean, the Hagrid one I used, I think it was 16. And again, I've got to remember to clean this because it's now going to yellow. One more to go. The Hagrid one, I just dotted like this, little scratches of colour. With about, I think I had 16 colours. All colours I'd picked out from fawns and browns and yellows. I'd pick them out so that when I blended them together I'd get a wonderful colour for Yorkshire Stone. And it worked quite well. Oh, bye Marilyn, thank you for stopping by. Yes, Caroline says she uses just watercolour pencils and pastel pencils. Now it's easy on the hands and you can manage, yeah. I mean, I love the Derwent watercolour pencils, but again, you know, I've had those many years. Mine was the old set. I've had them since I think the children were little, or maybe even before the children were born. And then I had the Ink 10 pencils. I mean, that's just rubbing that with 2 fingers. You're just sliding that across the top. And then you're just using the eraser to just highlight. If you want some highlights, just tap some highlights on. And then I like to just put a little bit of shadow down there. And there should have been a bit there and a bit there. And I say, as long as you remember to take everything off before you dampen it. everything should be fine. Just got to remember to clean your little blending tool. Oops. Oh, you too, Marilyn. You take care too. Bye. Thank you for just stopping by. What have I got? So again, I've got my little water brush. Just very gently coat that over there. Coat that over there. And you don't want to be putting dark over light because you will move this. You will move it. It never stays where it's supposed to be. Just see if I can set this one. If you've blended it in, it's very well behaved because you've actually stained it into the paper. But we can only get one layer. It's not when you watch the proper pastelists. They spend a long time building colours up and getting finer and finer detail, and we do not have that. We don't have that luxury. We have one on a colour page. We have one shade, that one layer. That's all we have. So all that now has become a watercolour from pastels. The colours are a little bit washed out, just a little bit. So I'm going to put the pinks away. And I think I can put the yellows away. I don't know what that is, but make that yellow. Again, you can do the choice of using the brush or kind of doing that. So I've got a bit more to do, but I kind of like the tigers. I probably will be blending them in the book. Or the wild, I haven't actually got the book, but all the others I'll be blending them. So it's about an hour, but you know, a couple of hours for a page. It's still fairly quick compared to the detail and the colours we've got in. If I hold it like that, you can see the colours slightly better. They don't wash out as much. So a couple of hours for a page, I think is quite okay. So that's the end of part 1 of Wild by Bennett Klein, Colour My Sketchbook, and that's the tiger and the tiger cubs and the butterfly page, and that's the end of part 1. Thank you for watching.